Talking. Test. 1, 2. Test. Talking. 1, 2. Test. Talking. 1, 2. 1, 2. Test. Test. Talking. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 3, 4. Talking. Test. Test. Test.
Good evening. I call to order this. Excuse me, thought it was on. I call to order this meeting of the Coweta County Board of Education, Agenda 780. Today is October 11th, 2022. As we prepare for our pledge and moment of silence, I ask that you please remember the family of Richard Brooks, who passed away this afternoon. Mr. Brooks was a 30-year educator in our school system and served as superintendent from 1994 until his retirement in 2002. We'll stand for the pledge and a moment of silence. Thank you. You may be seated. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Recognitions, Dr. Horton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At this time, I'll call on Public Information Officer Dean Jackson to bring you recognitions. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Dr. Horton. Our first recognition tonight is our core business, and bringing us our example of classroom learning tonight is Blake Bass Middle School. We have several Bass students and teachers with us here tonight, so I'd call on Principal Cindy Bennett to introduce.
Good evening, board members and Superintendent Horton and Dr. Guy, and thank you for allowing Bass Middle School to present at the board meeting tonight. I am Cindy Bennett, principal at Blake Bass Middle School, and I've brought with me tonight 4 of our 8th grade teachers and 5 8th grade students. Recognizing that the 5-year school system strategic plan emphasizes and measures student learning, we've identified creativity and collaboration as a point of emphasis in our school improvement plan for the 22-23 school year. As part of the focus in this area, Bass Middle School engages students in the learning process with opportunities that are real-world focused and student-centered. Ms. Dawson, Mr. Bouchard, Ms. Humphrey, they are the 8th grade team leaders with me tonight, and they are going to share an example of the amazing work that's being produced by our students to help us accomplish this goal. And now allow me to introduce my superhero team.
A little bit taller. Good evening, I'm Ashley Dawson. Recognizing the importance of students being able to apply their knowledge and learning in real-world situations, our 8th grade team focuses on creativity and collaboration across the core classes. In order to master one of our standards in physical science, students were provided with a learning activity we would love to share with you this evening. Using students' knowledge in the elements on the periodic table, students designed and created superheroes or villains to explain the relationship between chemical and physical properties of elements on the periodic table and where they belong in said periodic table. The goal was to provide students with a situation in which they could use their knowledge gained from their academic classes to collaborate and solve a real-world problem. 8th grade teachers created a hypothetical situation where students were being scouted and challenged by Elements of the Universe, a division of Marvel and comic book publisher, to create and pitch a new superhero or villain for an educational line of comic books the company wished to create.
Hi, I'm Avery. The 8th grade students at Bass Middle School were tasked by Elements of the Universe, a division of Marvel, with creating superheroes or villains based off elements from the periodic table. The challenge was not only to create a superhero or villain, but for each student to develop the qualities of a super student. Each of our 4 subjects built these qualities with engaging hands-on experiences while challenging students to fulfill the requirements laid out by the company in the teacher-created simulation.
Hello, my name is Brooke. In science class, we researched a specific element from the periodic table and created a superhero or villain based on the specific characteristics of that element. We were then tasked with making connections between the superhero or villain's characteristics to the traits of the element based off of the periodic table. This part of the project pushed us to explain the relationship between chemical and physical properties of an element and where they belonged on the periodic table. Researching our element let us explore its purpose in our world today. With our research, we designed and created capes for our characters, which we are modeling for you tonight. The qualities that we researched for our element and its history provided us with the basis of our character's origin story.
Hello, my name is Olivia. In English Language Arts, we wrote a narrative of this origin story of the element based off the research in science. We were challenged to build our character in the narrative by creating a historical backstory that matched the research completed regarding element discovery. We were then tasked with creating a sample comic strip to illustrate the character's storyline. My element was neon, and I created a supervillain around its characteristics. I designed a star logo to represent my villain since neon is found in stars. Neon is also found in traffic lights, which is what I based my origin narrative around.
Hi, my name is Drake. In math class, we've been studying transformations with similar and congruent figures. We designed a logo to represent aspects of the element, as well as the atomic number for our hero or villain. We then graphed the element on the coordinate plane and transformed it across each plane. As the element was translated, rotated, and reflected, it simulated how video game designers program the images as they move throughout the game. Others dilated their logo to show an enlargement and demonstrate scale factor. We really had to amp up the creativity to add characteristics of the element to our design and relate it to the character we created in the narrative.
Hello, my name is Andrew, and in social studies, we examined the costs and benefits of being an entrepreneur and weighted the opportunity costs of taking on a new business venture. An important part of making a pitch to a group of investors would be having a visual of our proposed superhero or villain. Using the design created in science as an inspiration, we created a 3D model out of various materials of our character. Using this 3D model, our cape, our narrative, and our transformation, we were able to pitch our idea to the company, Elements of the Universe, successfully. Lessons like this one prepare the students of Blake Bass Middle School for endless opportunities outside of the classroom by creating a super student, a student with creativity, collaborative decision-making skills, and a strong work ethic.
Great job, guys. Great job. It's incredible what you've learned. I learned something tonight. I did not know that neon was in traffic lights, so that's awesome. Thank you for teaching me something tonight.
Then one other thing tonight, just want to mention this. The state school superintendent, Richard Woods, recently named 31 members from all over Georgia to serve on his parent advisory council this year. As members of that council, they're going to meet at least 3 times with Superintendent Woods to discuss education issues in Georgia. This year's slate included 16 brand-new members to that council, and we want to recognize that Elm Street Elementary School parent Carly Force was also nominated to serve and was chosen to serve on that council this year. Ms. Force couldn't be here tonight. She had a prior family obligation, but we wanted to recognize her appointment to that board and to congratulate her and Elm Street. And that's going to conclude our recognitions.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the September 13, 2022 meeting?
Have a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 7-0. And is there a motion to approve the called minutes of the September 23rd, 2022 meeting?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? And we have 6 in favor and 1 abstention. Action items, and that motion passes. Action items, Group 1, Dr. Horton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The first item I have for you in Group 1 tonight is to approve the FY 22-23 Non-Discrimination, Title IX, and Equity in Sports Compliance Coordinator. I recommend appointing Dr. Mark Guy as a Non-Discrimination, Title IX, and Equity in Sports Compliance Coordinator for the Coweta County School System for the 22-23 school year. Madam Chair, I recommend approval.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent to appoint Dr. Mark Guy as the coordinator for fiscal year 22-23 for the non-discrimination, Title IX, and equity in sports compliance. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 7-0.
The next action item I have for you in Group 1 is to approve early payroll for December 2022. If approved, the December payroll will be issued on December 16th, 2022. It's the last working day before the Christmas holidays and the end of the year. Madam Chair, I recommend approval.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent to approve early payroll for December of 2022. Payroll would be issued on the 16th of December if approved. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I'd just like to say to Mr. Chapman and and all of his team, Mr. Latimer, I know it's a lot of work that y'all do to get that payment out on time, so really appreciate that.
Any further discussion? All right. All in favor? Motion carries 7-0.
The next action item I have for you in Group 1 is to approve a multi-site lease dark fiber WAN solution agreement with WOW. Approval is requested to enter into a multi-site lease dark fiber WAN solution to network 41 school district locations. The year 1 monthly recurring cost, $36,000 a month for a total of $432,000. Years 2 through 5, the monthly recurring cost will be $23,800 per month for a total of $1,142,400. And the total for years 1 through 5 is $1,574,400. Madam Chair, I recommend approval.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent to approve a multi-site lease for the dark fiber WAN solution agreement with WOW. The total package is for $1,574,400. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
In the event that WOW fails to perform, I'm looking at the severability clause in the contract. Can we get out of this without penalty?
Ms. Meek, I would be operating on an assumption without having the opportunity to research the agreement further. I do know that Attorney Lee approved or approved the agreement before my signature, and it went through that. So I would assume that this agreement would be subject to any other requirements that we would have. As far as specifically to severability, I'm not going to speak to that without having the opportunity to research it further.
Could we delay the vote on it until we determine that? Because residentially, they're having some significant issues.
I'm not aware of that. I mean, I believe the motion is on the table, and, again, I called yesterday to see if there were any questions. You didn't return my call. Everyone else had the opportunity to have their questions answered, so the motion's on the table. I have all the information there for you.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries 6-1.
The next action item I have for you in Group 1 is to approve a contingency change request to clear and grade a site on Noonan High School property east of Armory Road to receive excess dirt from BP3. Approval is requested for a contingency change request to use excess dirt from BP3 to construct a site on school system property east of Armory Road. The approved bid to grade the BP3 site included hauling excess dirt off-site. Current proposal will provide a credit for the shorter haul distance of the excess dirt. Proposal has been submitted to clear a portion of the site east of Armory Road and use this excess dirt from BP3 to provide a level site, including stormwater management, to be used for future construction. The site east of Armory Road has a significant amount of trees that were damaged from the tornado, which need to be cleaned up. The import site for the excess dirt will clear approximately 4 acres of the damaged area. The net cost to construct the site is $350,034.51. The change order proposal and supporting documentation is attached. Madam Chair, I recommend approval.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent to approve a contingency change request to clear and grade a site on the Noonan High School property east of Armory Road to receive excess dirt from bid package 3. The net cost would be $350,034.51. Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 7-0.
The next action item I have for you in Group 1 is to approve a change order proposal to install the shield system in the Noonan High School gymnasiums, BP2 at Noonan High School. Approval is requested for a change order proposal to provide the shield system in the new and existing gymnasiums at Noonan High School. Shield system was approved as an add alternate in bid package 3. Total change order amount is $205,286. Change order proposal and supporting documentation is attached. Board members, it just didn't make sense when this was brought to me for us to have the shield system in every other building there except for the 2 gyms. So that's why I'm bringing it to you tonight. So I recommend approval.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent to approve a change order proposal to install the shield system in the Noonan High School gymnasiums under bid package 2 at Noonan High. And the total amount for the change order is $205,286. Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 7-0.
The next action item I have for you in Group 1 is to approve a request from Elm Street Elementary School to install a concrete sidewalk. The Elm Street Elementary School requests approval for the PTO to purchase the installation of a concrete sidewalk to extend to the walking track. The estimated project cost is $5,395. Requirements of board policy FEAE have been met. Supporting documentation is attached, and this project will be funded by the Elm Street Elementary PTO. Madam Chair, I recommend approval.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent to approve a request from Elm Street Elementary School for installation of a concrete sidewalk to be funded by the Elm Street PTO. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 7-0.
And the last action item I have for you in Group 1 is to approve a contingency change request to upgrade roof access on the Noonan High School gymnasium. Approval is requested for a contingency change request to upgrade the roof access to aluminum roof stairs between the different roof levels on the gymnasium at Newnan High School. Upon review of the plans for bid package 3, it was requested that the vertical ladders provided to access different levels of the roof be changed to aluminum stairs for safety reasons. The ladders on BP3 were changed pre-bid. It was determined that a similar condition existed on BP2. The cost to upgrade the ladders on BP2 is $74,335. Change order proposal and supporting documentation is attached. Madam Chair, I recommend approval.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent to approve a contingency change request to upgrade roof access on the Newnan High School gym under bid package 2. A total of cost for the upgrade of the ladders is $74,335. Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Madam Chairman, I would like to just, anytime I see contingency change orders, especially repetitiously, I will call and ask. And I appreciate, Dr. Horton, you spending much time with me this week explaining that to me. And as you said, this is such a project that going into after a tornado, trying to see what we have going on. I see some of our contractors here. And so it is important for me to always understand where those changes come from. So you guys did a great job maybe explaining it to him to explain to me, but I appreciate that. And thank you for the time you took to address those questions. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I do have a question. In the notes, in the material that we were given, it does make a comment that with this change, that they cannot guarantee the roofing materials can support the weight of the stairs. How does this impact our warranty? Can someone please address that? One of our contractors, please.
Sure, I have
Thank
one of the
you.
gentlemen from Parrish here to answer that question.
I'm Corey with Parrish. I turned that contingency request in and then followed up with that. The roof manufacturer did give me a compression strength, and it does. It'll allow the strength of the steps.
Okay, so the statement that is made in the correspondence, is it incorrect?
Yes, ma'am. First, when we made this change, my assumption was, let's talk to the manufacturers real quick before we place those stairs on top of that roof membrane, because over 30 years, we don't need any abrasion. That with the weight as well for the compression of our insulation board, which I didn't want to degrade. So, but I did confirm that it's fine.
Could you ask them could you ask them to confirm that in writings? Because the statement that they made in the documentation, what you're saying is contrary to what they're saying in this memo.
Yes, ma'am. It had to go actually not from just the manufacturer, but to the engineers too of the design
Okay.
team. So then A&E has, they're calculating the weight of the steps versus the compression strength of the ISO board.
Okay.
So I can get that to you.
My only concern is that in the event that something should happen, and does become a warranty issue, I think the statement needs to be addressed and corrected. So if you could hand us that, that would be great.
Yes, ma'am. Not a
Thank
problem.
you.
All right. Appreciate it.
Any further discussion?
Madam Chairman, I'd like to say this. I've been around on some roofs at my workplace, and it's similar in height to being on a roof at a gymnasium. And we've got different levels. And anytime you have stairs as opposed to the ladders, as someone who's been on these ladders and stairs, it's much more comforting to go up those stairs to access a different level than to go up the ladder. So I see this as a vast improvement. Anything that's related to safety, I'm in favor of. So good job to Ronnie and the architects and everybody. So I appreciate it.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 7-0. There are no bids, so we'll move on to action item group 3, trips. Dr. Horton.
Call on Dr. Guy to bring you trips. Dr. Guy?
Thank you, Dr. Horton. The principal at East Coweta High School requests permission for the Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps Rifle Team to conduct a program trip to Washington, D.C. from June 4th through June 9th, 2023. Each summer, the JROTC program is required to conduct a one-week cadet leadership course that reinforces curriculum learning objectives. There will be no school days missed, and there's no cost to the school system. The principal at Noonan High School requests permission for the Noonan High School Drumline to compete in the Winter Guard International World Championships in Dayton, Ohio. The proposed dates for the trip are Wednesday, April 19th through April 23rd, 2023. Students will miss 2 days of school. There is no cost to the school system. The principal at Smoky Road Middle School requests permission for the chorus students to travel to Nashville, Tennessee from April 3rd through the 5th, 2023. The purpose of the trip is to provide students with the performance opportunity and music exposure and experience. There's no cost to the school system, and no school days will be missed. Each of these requests does meet our out-of-state field trip guidelines.
Madam Chair, I recommend approval.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent to approve the field trips to East Coweta, Noonan High, and Smoky Road Middle. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Superintendent's report, Dr. Horton.
Call on Mr. Chapman to bring you budget report and your sales tax. Mr. Chapman.
Budget report, we've completed 25% of the year. We've expended 24.7% of our budget. Through September, we are $29,566 under budget. Sales tax, continue to see good numbers there, just under $3.1 million for the most current month.
Thank you, Mr. Chapman. This time, I'll once again call on Dr. Mark Guy to bring you staff and student attendance and your board goal report. Dr. Guy.
Thank you, Dr. Horton. For the second attendance reporting period, the highest staff attendance in the district goes to Atkinson Elementary School. In the program area, highest student attendance was Central Educational Center. In the elementary school area, highest attendance was Northside Elementary School. Highest middle school student attendance, Madras Middle School, and the highest student attendance for high school, home of the Vikings, Northgate High School. For your board goal report this month, I'd like to share with you Coweta County school system overall on-time graduation rates for 2022. This is a bit lengthy, but this is really great news. The percentage of Coweta County school system high school students graduating on time rose to 90.5% for the class of 2022. That reflects an increase of 1.2% in Coweta's four-year graduation rate over that of 2021, according to a graduation report released by the Georgia Department of Education last Thursday, October 6, 2022. Coweta County's four-year graduation rate was more than 6% higher than the state of Georgia's 2022 rate, which also increased from 2021 to 2022. Individually, East Coweta High School posted a 2022 four-year graduation rate of 91.7%, Noonan High School a rate of 87.7%, and Northgate High School had a rate of 90.6%. The adjusted cohort graduation rate, more commonly known as the on-time graduation rate, measures the percentage of students who enter high school together as freshmen and who then go on to earn a diploma within 4 years. Since the state began the on-time graduation rate calculation, the Coweta County school system graduation rate has remained consistently above the state average during that same period, despite having higher standards for graduation than most Georgia school districts because of our block scheduling system. Coweta County school system high schools have used a number of strategies and supports to increase graduation rates throughout that time, including relevant and challenging instruction by high-quality teachers, individual graduation plans for each student which are closely monitored by faculty, online credit recovery opportunities for students who encounter difficulty in classes, Saturday school opportunities, tutoring before and after school, student support services outside of the classroom, including counseling, staff advisors, and community mentors, a partnership with Elevate Coweta Students, which works with the most at-risk students, emphasis on ninth grade readiness and careful scheduling of students, innovative scheduling opportunities, including literacy and math focus, as well as accelerated and advanced learning opportunities through the Central Educational Center, dual enrollment opportunities, and work-based learning. Content nights for parents to encourage family awareness and support for students' graduation requirements, high school scheduling, and academic content, focusing on short-term federal funds made available to Coweta County in recent years into additional teaching personnel, tutoring, and other initiatives that have addressed learning loss and increased student support. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Guy. And board members, if I may just make a couple of comments. Culminates in high school, but I try to remind our employees every chance I get that a graduation rate that's over 90% and that has been climbing in recent years is a result of a lot of hard work pre-K through 12. That is a whole system goal. So you saw tonight an example of a middle school that is providing rigorous work, relevant work, real-world application for our students so that they can learn materials so that they are engaged. That's going on in our elementary schools. It's going on across this system from pre-K through 12. And the culmination is kids that are graduating on time and they're ready to enter into our community as productive members of that community, whether it's into the workforce, whether it's into the armed forces, whether it's into 2-year or 4-year college. And that is a system-wide effort that we undertake each and every day with that end goal in mind. So just want to say right here, I'm just proud of all of our employees, proud of our kids and the work that they do each day. The job, I tell our principals, I told them last month at the principals meeting, the work is not easy, but when they walk across that stage, it is worth it. It is always worth it. So that's what drives us every day. So with that, I will move to the facilities and construction report. Northgate High School still on your list there. We actually are finishing up some final work on the fire alarm there, but the project is substantially complete. The addition is complete and occupied, just waiting on some closeout documents. Noonan High School gym, you've heard a little bit about the shield system there tonight. Replacement facilities, BP1 demolition is complete. Underground utility relocations have been completed. I was actually by Noonan High this afternoon. If you're by there, you will see that on the old building, the old main building area, the slabs are now being demolished and ground up. We'll begin getting that site to grade over the course of the next few weeks. The new gym that is being constructed, you will see that we've added additional retaining walls back there. That is substantially on grade, and my guess is that it won't be too long before we'll start to see some steel going up on that one. So the project there is coming right along. Everything seems to be on schedule. Final fire marshal inspection scheduled for this week at Smoky Road and CEC on those fire alarm replacements. And we're doing some surveillance camera upgrades to various schools and facilities so that we're actually all on the same server system. So good bit going on in your facilities and construction report, with the majority of that work being at Noonan High School. One last update that I have for you is an update on proposed 2023 and 2024 and 2024-2025 calendars. You may recall we put calendars out for input last month. Mr. Jackson put those out. And over the course of the last month, we have received some feedback from our teachers and staff with a request on the staff calendars for the next 2 years. These changes will not affect students at all. The student calendars would remain as they are. But what I would like to do is on each of the calendars for employees, I would like to take yesterday, the holiday we had yesterday on each of those calendars is a teacher workday. Teachers have requested that become a holiday and that teachers get an extra day of pre-planning at the beginning of the year. So it would give us 4 days of pre-planning for teachers at the beginning of the year to help them get better prepared for the start of the school year. And then yesterday would remain a holiday for students, but it will also become a holiday for teachers instead of a work day. And wanted to go ahead and bring that to you tonight. Nothing else about those calendars will change. Calendars are still out until the beginning of November for public comment and feedback, but wanted to go ahead and make that adjustment as we listen to our teachers and try to make things as easy for them to start the school year as we possibly can. So with that, Madam Chair, that's all I have.
Thank you, Dr. Horton. We set aside 45 minutes at each of our monthly meetings for public comment. And I would like to just read the public participation policy that we have and just to the guidelines and the rules that we adhere to as far as the policy regarding public comment. And I would just like to read these so that we're all on the same page here. And each person who has signed up to speak has signed that they have received and will abide by these points here. Each speaker will be limited to 5 minutes. The Board of Education will listen to each presentation without comment. After the presentation is made, each board member may respond if he or she wishes to for a period of no longer than 1 minute each. Only citizens of Coweta County or employees of the Coweta County school system may speak in the public comment portion of the meeting. No grievances will be heard concerning any specific personnel action or any specific county employee, except through the grievance procedure set forth in the board's personnel policy. No one will be allowed to discuss any matter involving threatened or pending litigation with the Board of Education during the public comment portion of the meeting. In the need to preserve order in the meeting, no person attending the meeting will be allowed to boo, hiss, cheer, clap, or otherwise show approval or disapproval for any speaker in any manner whatsoever. No signs or placards advocating any action or position will be allowed at the meeting. No personal attacks on any person will be allowed. The chairman or other presiding officer will be responsible for enforcing these rules. No citizen or system employee will be retaliated against in any manner whatsoever for speaking on matters of public concern at the meeting. Any person not recognized within the allotted time period for public comment will be rescheduled to speak at the next meeting. And requests to speak during the public comment portion must be received at the Board of Education office no later than 3 hours prior to the particular meeting being called to order. And with that, I'll call your name as you've been signed up, and we have the timer set to 5 minutes. First on our list is Xiomara Castro.
Good evening to all. We don't teach CRT, but we strongly believe in equity. Over the past 2 months, I have met with high-ranking administrators of the Coweta County schools, all who agree that equity is the equal opportunity given to all, not the equal outcome. In fact, we've heard it here from the public as well, and I had a board member laugh at me. So here's a definition given by the Milken Institute School of Public Health at the Georgia Washington University. While the terms equity and equality may sound similar, the implementation of one versus the other can lead to dramatically different outcomes for marginalized people. Equality means each individual or group of people is given the same resources or opportunities. Equity recognizes that each person has different circumstances and allocates the exact resources and opportunities needed to reach an equal outcome. Equity is a solution for addressing imbalanced social systems. And if that's not enough, here's Merriam-Webster's dictionary. Equality means the state of being equal, and equity adds the element of justice or fairness. It's possible that equal treatment does not produce, meaning outcome, equity when conditions and circumstances are very different. The National PTA, which 2 of our schools are a part of, Arbor Springs Elementary and Glanton Elementary, state the following about equity. Our mission requires that diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, be central to our work and use in our day-to-day decisions and actions. In the PTA local leadership guidance on DEI and their intermediate stage focused on inclusion, it states, expect members of dominant groups, examples, white, English-only speaking, middle class, straight, Christian, etc., to acknowledge and work to reduce barriers to the success of underrepresented groups and the PTA membership demographics, reflect the diversity of the community served, and race, ethnicity, languages, income, religion, gender identity, sexual orientation, etc. And on your website for professional learning, there are links for the National Staff Development Council and another one that is for Standards for Professionals. Both take you to Learning Forward. And speaking about the new standards that replace the 2011 standards, the website says, when systems increase the stakes for students by demanding high, equitable outcomes, the stakes for professional learning increase as well. Learning Forward has long positioned transformational professional learning as a pathway to equity. With this planner, practitioners at the state and local levels have a framework and powerful tools to integrate high-quality instructional materials and standards-based professional learning to significantly accelerate essential learning outcomes for students. This is by Denise Glenn Borders, the Learning Forward President and CEO. And then in a June 2022 article for teachers, it states, at a time when it is unpopular to publicly stand up for equity, diversity, and inclusion, Learning Forward demonstrated its unwavering commitment to ensure equitable outcomes for all students by centering equity in its newest iteration of standards for professional learning. The standards articulate the foundational truth that equity is both an outcome and aspect of professional learning. Together, the standards challenge us to think of professional learning as a vehicle for transformation. Then it continues, and I quote, cultural competence requires one to see difference and embrace the truth that difference makes a difference when trying to attain excellent educational outcomes for all students. Engaging in critical self-reflection about one's social identities and its interface in classrooms must become a regular part of educators' practice. We recognize that community of practice members needed to first increase their knowledge of themselves and recognize the presence of patterns of privilege and power, historical biases, and institutional racism within their educational settings. We refer this to as the inside-out approach. The Equity Drivers Standard not only challenges educators to understand their own biases, but also clarifies how their own socialization connects to institutional arrangements of power and privilege that create and perpetuate systemic inequities. Does the school system, the board members, do the district administrators truly understand what equity is and how it is being used in the classrooms? Can you, in all honesty, tell me that we don't have opportunity to teach CRT when we are focused so much on diversity, equity, and inclusion, even to the extent of directly providing teachers with materials that teach them how to implement in the classrooms, allowing 2 schools to be part of the National PTA, following accreditation standards from Cognia, and this does not include the Race, Equity, and Justice Action Plan Committee from November 2019 to May 2020, for which nobody seems to want to provide records of. So thank you and have a great week.
Thank you. Next, we have Jasmine Meehan.
Good evening, everybody. I was going to talk about Cognia this evening, and the more I thought about trying to share the information that I believe most parents and guardians are not familiar with, the more I kept thinking about transparency, or in our case, the lack thereof. I would urge parents and guardians to research Cognia and the performance standards that they list on their website, considering that our taxpayer money of $82,000 plus went to this company over 2020 and 2021. Transparency. So I have a very dear friend who, at the end of last school year, asked to join in on an SEL lesson with her child's classroom at Arbor Springs, and she was denied. She was informed that observations during guidance time affect students' privacy and confidentiality. Where was the transparency there? What part of an SEL class could be so confidential for a third grader that a parent is unable to know what was discussed? I've done multiple searches across the county's website for curriculum, and you sure don't make it easy. I've yet to be able to access any full curriculum information, only pieces of. And some of the pages, when you click the links, are lost upon entry or nothing pulls up at all. I've heard many stories recently about why families have pulled their children out of our county schools and moved them to a charter, private school, or as I did, we've opted to homeschool. It's too bad none of those families will come and speak out about why they left, because I've heard a lot of really crazy things. But they all have one thing in common, and that's trust. Trust was broken somewhere during their children's time within the system. So if you still do not understand or recognize that we are all in the middle of a spiritual battle, then I can't help but feel sorry for you. A time will come, though, when we are going to have to pick a side, and I believe that time is now. Parents are going to have to wake up and fight this culture of Marxism that is creeping in on us, because it is everywhere now. I've been making my attempt to share at these meetings that I believe the Marxist agenda is coming. I believe it's here. I don't know to what extent it's here, but we have absolutely dipped our feet in. And it got worse when we accepted federal COVID funds. And the lack of transparency makes it difficult to understand it fully, but then again, that lack of transparency leads me to believe we are further invested in the destruction of our youth more than we imagined. We need more brave parents, teachers, administrators, and even students to stand up for what is right and good. If we do not, we are lost if we don't fight for what is good, and we are our only hope. Who knew that speaking about protecting our children from explicit materials would be so controversial? I sure didn't. What I'm most surprised about is the silence from the most of you guys. When these obscene and explicit books were brought to attention, most of you denied that we even had an issue. I had expected you would all jump to investigate it, ask more questions on how these books came to be in our media centers, maybe even simply acknowledge the truth of the matter. It would have been a better look for you all as a whole, but that is not the path you chose. We still haven't received any updates on the several books that are currently pending review. And if we don't have obscene materials, then what are we reviewing? I heard something at a conference recently that I would like to share. Books not being taught are not banned. I would like for you all to think about that statement. Books not being taught are not banned. There's only so much room in a school media center that do not have all the books that have ever been written. Does that mean that all of those books are banned? I would say no. I would say those books are just not, that are all not already in the school media center, are not relevant for our youth. This is how I would say most parents and guardians feel about the obscene and explicit books. They're not needed in our schools, and they're not relevant to our children. Are you aware of a Rasmussen report that was published on October 3rd of this year regarding explicit content? 69% of the voters believe that books containing explicit sexual depictions of sex acts should not be present in public high school libraries. So one would assume if they're not appropriate for high school, then they are definitely not appropriate for our middle schoolers. And there have been a few references here at the Board of Education regarding certain Bible verses and how they're the same, if not worse, than some of these excerpts that have been read here and shared on social media. And I read all those verses, and they do not compare. I find it a silly argument and a last stretch to try and compare the Bible to explicit materials such as Tricks by Ellen Hopkins, while also attempting to make a jab at Christians. If you are a Christ follower, then you should be on the ready. We have a lot of work to do, and it does not end here at the Board of Education. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Jalea Lugo.
Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Horton. My name is Jalea Lugo. I'm a senior at East Coweta High School. I've been attending Coweta County Schools since 4th grade, and I've had a positive experience since my time here. The school system has a very diverse community of students, and that makes it very easy to find and feel comfortable with a group of people that you feel and connect with. It's very easy to fit in. But one of my top contributors to my experience is the staff, specifically my coaches. So I started playing sports through the school in 7th grade, played basketball at Lee Middle School, and now I'm a track runner and I'm a basketball cheerleader at EC. They've believed in not just me, but all of my teammates and have gotten us to work our hardest. None of their coaching has stopped at simply coaching, it always carries further. My cheerleading coach, Ms. Latasha Washington, who is also my food and nutrition teacher at EC, is a prime example of this. She's one of the most loving and caring people ever. She checks up on me outside of school, and she makes sure that I'm doing okay, and she also wants me to be the best in the sport that I do. She listens whenever I have something to talk about, and because of her, I feel that I have a trusted adult in the system that I can go to. I've seen this quality in a lot of other coaches as well, and I'm sure that I can say for a lot of our student athletes in the county that we as student athletes, we have our coaches to go to if we need something to talk about. So I just want to say thank you guys for all of your hard work and the time and effort that you put into approving our coaches and everything, and it's greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Caleb Mize.
Good evening. My name is Caleb Mize. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you this evening on why I believe the Coweta County school system is one of the best in the state. My granddad has a saying. He tells me all the time, make a difference today, grandboy. So tonight, I'm going to tell you why the Coweta County school system has made a difference in my life. I'm a senior at the East Coweta High School, and I'm a member of the Student Ambassador 9 SOS. I play football for the school. As I am going through my daily routine, I counted how many people impacted me during a typical day just on the East Coweta campus, from teachers to administrators to coaches, and even the ones simply serving my lunch. All of them taking time to try and impact us as students in a positive way. They make a difference in my life every day, and many go unnoticed. People are so quick to point out the negative in today's world, so I just want to take my time tonight and share with you how great our school really is. Our teachers truly care for us. For the time I started in Coweta County school system, I've always believed my teachers cared about me, and some have literally watched me grow up. For example, Ms. Pater was my kindergarten teacher, and now she is my 3rd block teacher in my senior year. So you could say that she's been on the bookends to my school years. Teachers around here are just different. Yes, they teach the material, but they go above and beyond to make classes fun and engaging and make sure we truly understand so we have a solid foundation to move forward. But that is not all. They are interested in who we are and what is going on in our lives. I can't tell you how many times one of my teachers took time out of their day to come watch me play football and were one of the first ones to come up and say good game and let me know how proud they were of me. To know a teacher cares about me as a person and wants what is best for me is a good feeling. It makes me want to work harder and to do the best I can. There are many teachers that after the end of the school day continue to impact us by spending their time as club sponsors and coaches. Because of their time, this has allowed students like me to become part of something more, something that is bigger than them, something they can be proud of. Like I said, I play football for the high school. Our team motto is, I love my teammates. If you look at a photo of our team, you will notice we are all different. We all come from different backgrounds and we have different family structures at home. However, I love my teammates. They are like an extension of my family. Our coaches have taught us to work together and always stick up for one another. The season will eventually end and people might not remember the score, but they will always remember others' character and lessons they have learned from the coaches in this great game. Some things are bigger than the game of football, and I've learned it is more important to support others and make a positive impact. And this is all because of the teachers, coaches, staff of East Coweta and believing in us, supporting us, encouraging us to be the best and love one another each day. Like I said earlier, my granddad always challenges me to make a difference every day. So tonight, I wanted to let you know the teachers at East Coweta have made a difference in my life. I will go forward each day to also try and make a difference in others' lives of others, because making a difference each day in just one person's life can change the world. So many people believe our teachers and staff are just doing their jobs. I believe it is more than that. They are making a difference in the lives of each and every one of the students at our school. So while I approach the end of my time as a student here at Coweta County School System, I know I am ready for the next chapter in my life. I know I can handle the class load of college because my teachers invested in me and prepared me academically for the next level. They have made a difference in me, and I will always be thankful and proud to be a part of the EC family. And of course, I think it would only be right to end my time this evening with a quote from our principal. If no one has told you today, I love you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Alan Brady.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. As it's been about a year or maybe more since I first appeared before you, I thought it was about time to recap what has transpired in the last year and what needs to be done going forward. What follows is based on my observations and understanding. If there are any errors of fact, please educate me. As always, it's meant to be constructive. For nearly a year, I and others have pointed out problematical material present in our school libraries and in the curriculum and ask you as the ultimate authority over the local public schools under the doctrine of local control to please deal with this issue. Regarding our concerns about divisive materials present in the curriculum, there was a hue and cry from a number of prominent local individuals that there was no such thing and never will be. As I recall, there were some similar pronouncements from members of this board. There was even a page added to the school system website to rebut any such claims. Yet within that web page, there were clear examples of its presence. The state legislature was concerned enough to pass a new law prohibiting it. Those of us concerned about the issue will continue to be diligent. As a fine American from years gone by once said, trust but verify. Much more has been said about the presence of a relative handful of literary works with sexually explicit content in the middle and high school libraries. There does not appear to be any question that this content, were it presented to a minor by an adult outside of the school, would be grounds for that adult to be criminally charged. As I understand it, under the former review process, one such book has been removed from one middle school library due to lack of interest in it. If there's been more progress on this issue, I'd be interested in hearing about it. My hope, and I believe the hope of others as well, was that once you were informed of the situation, you would step up and instruct that these materials be removed from the reach of minors. Sadly, that has not been the case. Our superintendent, to his credit, has expressed concern about the issue. I especially appreciated this comment regarding these materials, which, as I recall, was, the question is, how did they get in there in the first place? I've tried to answer this question in my past comments, but I don't want to take up time with that now. I believe since this issue has been brought directly to you on a number of occasions and by a number of different people, he's waiting on direction from the members of the board. I believe one member of the board clearly understands the problem with these materials and would vote to direct removal or at least restriction to access to them were it possible to do so. Another member has expressed concern about the general degradation of our society's moral fiber, but at the same time has said there's nothing that can be done about the problem with the library material since we can't go banning books. As an aside, as I've said, I don't believe in banning books either, but I do think certain things should be kept out of the hands of children. One member has not commented on what I would term the original list of questionable materials, but has commented at length expressing approval of another somewhat less blatantly explicit book that was not in the library but was used as a class reading material. I believe that another member may be somewhat conflicted about the issue, but is, as of now, unwilling to comment on it publicly or express an opinion that is not in line with the vocal supporters of these materials remaining in place. I hope that changes. I also hope that the rest of the board will consider their positions and make them known. I hope that their silence means that they may be at least conflicted about this issue as well. None of us knows when, how, and by whom the full and truthful history of this time will be told. It appears that the truth of the events of the last couple of years is coming out much faster than I imagined it ever would. Perhaps it'll be 10 years, perhaps 100, or perhaps 1,000. But someday, what you do here and now will be made known to a much wider audience than just a handful of people who attend these meetings or watch them online. I ask each of you to consider, as we all must, what will my story be? Did I do what was right in the eyes of God, even if it was not what some of my contemporaries wanted me to do, and even if it risked the wrath of those under the spell of the spirit of the age? If so, then you will be blessed with the words of our Lord. Well done, good and faithful servant. If not, well, at least there's still time to do the right thing. The clock is ticking. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any board comments tonight?
Yes, Madam Chair. I just wanted to say to Jalea and Caleb, thank you all so much. You did not have to be here. I know you have studying to do. Just now, really appreciate your comments. It's not always easy, but those comments really made my day. Actually, really made my school year. I mean, really appreciate it. Dr. Guy, to your presentation on the graduation rate. I mean, if that's not why we're here, if they're not why we're here, then why we're here. So just wanted to say again, thank you all so much. Look forward to visiting y'all when I come to East Coweta soon.
I would also just like to add a big welcome to the ambassadors at EC. And it was so sweet that you acknowledged your elementary teacher as well. And she did move up with you. And that's fabulous. And so it's so good for us to hear from you guys because you are the reason we are here. And it is our job to protect you. And that is why we are here. And so I'm thankful for you guys. You guys are just amazing. I love to see you at the school. Also to shout out, when you did say, Dr. Guy, about our graduation rate, it goes back to kindergarten, first grade, second grade. We have great elementary school teachers in here tonight. Miss Angie Murphy sitting in the back. She graduated from high school with me. And she is one of our star teachers. Very proud to know her and all the hard work that we do, K through senior year, to increase those graduation rates. And that is our goal, is to see students succeeding. And I thank you guys for being here. Appreciate that and appreciate those comments.
I'd like to comment, and also that our students that are here from East Coweta High, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And please come back. Definitely come back. We want to hear more from you. We'd love to hear from our students. But I'd like to go back to the comments that were made by Ms. Castro, Ms. Meehan, Mr. Brady. There's a lot of concern going on right now with regard to the changes that are coming through Title IX. And Dr. Horton, if we could get an update maybe at the November meeting on the review that is going on with some of the media center material, that would be great. Do you think that that would give sufficient time for there to be an update on that?
Absolutely.
I'd also like to add a comment to the students that spoke. EC, great for being here. And I want to challenge, look at the camera, Northgate and Noonan students, challenge you to come speak at some time. We'd love to hear from you. The young lady that spoke about her coaches, that's great. I don't want to say that your coach is not unusual, because every coach in this county is unusual, but I see that same loving, caring, you said it best, it goes beyond just coaching. And the young man that spoke, clubs and other things. I attend as many sporting events as I can cram into a calendar, and I see it from all the coaches at all the sports at all the schools. And one final comment on the graduation rate, and Dr. Horton and Ms. Dees and everyone put it perfectly, that it starts in pre-K, but you all as students have a role in that too, and you may never realize it, but the atmosphere at those schools, the way you treat your fellow students, you never know that back in middle school that friend that, was thinking, I can't wait till I, can turn 16 or whatever and withdraw from school, you make a difference too. So, keep it up. You're doing great. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have one thing I wanted to just give a shout out to Mr. Willie Gunn. It came to my attention that he was the Grand Marshal at the Noonan High School Homecoming Parade, He's 96 years old. He's moved back to Newnan at some point. He was a teacher at the old building on Jackson Street where Newnan High was at one time, where the Veterans Park is now. He started his teaching career there in 1949. He taught for 17 years here in the school system. He moved to Newnan High on LaGrange Street, which is no more either. And I just thought it was the Newnan Times-Herald in the Saturday, October 8th edition. If you want to read his whole story, please do, because it's an amazing story, where he came from, what he did. And I would just like to thank him. I don't know if we'll get back to him. Maybe I can find a way to contact him. Just want to thank him for what he did for the students that he served in the school system for 17 years and the impact he made not only in Coweta County, but in this region and really in the world. He was a World War II veteran. He was at Okinawa, and just an amazing man, and just wanted to thank him for all his years of service to our country and this community.
Any other board comments? All right. Is there a motion to approve to enter into executive session to discuss personnel, real estate, and potential litigation?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 7-0. We're adjourned.